Awesome. So today's conversation uh, is one that, when I think back at moments, times, milestones, etc., when I reflect back on like what were the most challenging moments or experiences that I've had in real estate or in relationships or otherwise, and it all stemmed from mindset. And what I mean by that is that sometimes, and so there's a quote that Mark Twain has that I really love. And and he says this quote, he says, "It's not what we know that gets us in trouble. It's what we think we know for certain that just isn't so." It's not what we know that gets us in trouble. It's what we think we know for certain that just isn't so. And think about how many times have you had an experience in the past? So let's say this. Um, Anyone remember middle school or high school when you're beginning to explore like who you like and who likes you, and maybe you're starting to like go together? When I was growing up, it was like, are you going with them? Like that was the phrase. Like it wasn't like, are you dating? Like, are you going together? Like, yeah, we are going together. I don't know what that even means. And then for whatever reason, like you break up. And at that moment, how many of you could attest that your life is literally, technically, clinically over? No reason to live. Like the worst thing ever. You're going through it and you're like 100% certain this is it. I'll never be the same again. I just lost the love of my life. I'm probably going into priesthood. I don't know. Right. And then week, month, maybe a year later, you look back and go, that was probably the best thing that could have ever happened to me ever. Right? I go all the way back to that time because I think it's really clear at that time that like we're so into our stories that oftentimes our disappointment is based in complete fiction. And we sometimes hang our hat on what's going on around us in such a way that can be really detrimental. And so there's a Chinese proverb that always comes to mind, and maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. And if you haven't, I'm going to read it for you. And if you have, I'd like for you to consider it, and we're going to have a conversation around it. And it's the Chinese proverb of the farmer and his son. And he said a farmer had a son, and they had a beloved stallion who helped them at the farm and earn a living. Well, one day the horse ran away, and all the neighbors exclaimed, and they just came and they said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for you. Your horse ran away. What terrible luck." So the farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." So a few days later, the horse comes back leading several other wild mares that it found when it ran away. The neighbors all came back and exclaimed, "Oh my gosh, your horse returned, and how lucky for you. He brought several other horses back with him. What great and amazing luck." And the farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." Later that week, the farmer's son, as he was trying to break one of the mares, got thrown to the ground and broke his leg. The old man needed his son's help to tend to the farm. So the villagers came and cried. They said, "Oh my gosh, how horrible. Your son broke his leg. What terrible luck. He can't help you any longer." The farmer replied, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." A few weeks later, soldiers from the National Army started marching through town, recruiting all of the able bodied boys for the army. They didn't take the farmer's son because his leg was still recovering from the injury. The friends shouted, "Oh my gosh, your boy has been spared. What tremendous luck." To which the farmer said, "Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see." What's your take on that story?
I think I mean, basically everything is going to happen the way it's going to happen. And at some point in time, whether you think it's going to be, at some point in time, you're going to realize something about it. It's either going to be negative or positive. And trying to determine that in the moment really does nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a phrase that we use in coaching all the time, and it's control the controllables. Just control the controllables, right? So often we're so outcome oriented that we feel that whether or not we get something or it sticks together or it falls apart, whether or not we're doing our job or not, when really our job is what? What's our job? What's our job in this? What do we actually do here? This is a great question. How many of you actually know what your job is?
I feel like mine's different every day. It's
Okay.
yeah. My job really is people and loving people and in whatever capacity taking care of people, whether it's my family or clients or anything.
So that's your purpose. So what's your job?
Well, I think it's a little bit about being the calming presence in the room and helping people see past whatever obstacle might be in their way.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what if they can't be calmed? Did you do your job?
Well, I think there are people that are just not going to be calm, but I think
Okay. Okay.
but you don't want to, I definitely, when I think about it, I don't want to add to that, right? So I want to be the calming presence, the rational voice, this problem solver, that helps put it all together and get them, because you can get them to where they need to be and they may never calm down, right? Until it's all said and done.
Okay.
So I think it's about solving the problems. It's trying to help them see another perspective and stay calm in this situation.
Okay.
That kind of goes back to what you said a minute ago about controlling the controllables. You can't really control how somebody else reacts or what somebody else does. You
Mhm.
can be that calming presence, that voice of reason, but you can't control how somebody else reacts to something.
What about your emotions?
You can control that.
Mhm.
Okay. How?
For me, but taking a step back and like, okay, is this really as dramatic or intense or whatever the emotion is I'm feeling? Is it really as bad as I think it is? Or just stepping back and getting some perspective? Like, let's look at the bigger picture here.
All right, let me ask you a question. Your in-laws invite you to go drive by the new hole they have in the ground for the new build that they're putting in, and their house is on the market, and you didn't know anything about it, and you're an agent.
That literally happened to me. Well, I mean, they, texted us.
So how do you respond?
Ooh,
Your best
definitely.
man,
Yeah.
your best man in your wedding, or your maid of honor in your wedding, who you go out with all the time, happy hours and otherwise, just calls you to invite you to their housewarming party.
You congratulate them, and I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy for you. And you go to the party and you take them a great gift.
Yeah, I mean, so that's the right thing to do. But how many of you, I say this to you, and you got this pit in your stomach that goes, oh, I'm not sure how I'd handle that. And I go back to the Chinese proverb going, oh, how horrible, your best friend didn't use you. You must be so upset. You're so unlucky. Maybe so. maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. Or, you know, the thing is that, you know, the listing appointment that you went on, that you believed you were it, and it was a higher price point than you've ever had, and they decided to go to somebody else. How bad is that? I don't know. How unlucky? Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. Right. Here's the thing, right? Like everything that happens to us and the story that we create around it is fiction. Right? Everything is fiction. Everything is story that we create. And so in down markets, excellence and professionalism are highlighted. Excellence and professionalism, from my opinion, is process-oriented, disciplined, and present. It's, I control the controllables. Here are my activities. If my job is to help support and serve people, I need to ensure, do I have enough people to support and serve? So my job is to go out there and either create or nurture the relationships that I have and continue to seek what problems out there are there that I can solve. Now, whether they choose to engage or use me, is that something I can control? Not necessarily. However, what you can control is, are you telling enough stories? Are you putting out enough information? Are you educating? Are you the source of reason and wisdom, or are you incendiary? Are you someone, when people come to you, do they know that you're carrying a bucket of water or carrying a bucket of gasoline? Do they come to you to help solve the problem, or do they come to you to conspire to continue to get fired up a little bit more? Do you participate in the chaos with them, or you help bring them back into the voice of reason? Right? Like, here's what I do know is, because I have no patience for chaos and I don't participate in negativity or drama, guess who no longer approaches me? The people that need somebody to participate with them. Guess who does come to me? It's not people that don't have problems. It's the people that have problems or opportunities that are looking for solutions and actions. So it's not that I'm resistant to, it's not that I've put up a wall that, like, I don't want to hear your negativity. It's, if you've got challenge, look, we all have challenges. If you have challenges and you like to, like, work through them and take ownership and move forward, then I'm your person. If you want to tell me how everybody's against you, the market sucks and this, and you're always getting passed over, it's not fair. I hate that word, and we're not allowed to say that in my house. Because the thing is this, everything is fair. It's absolutely fair. If you're being passed over, it's fair. It's because you didn't make yourself non-passoverable, if you will, or unmistakable. Be so good you can't be ignored. Be so good you can't be passed up. Be so good that you're picked for the team. And if you're not, it's not fair. And like, and I had to live through this. There was a time that I think back on this one moment, and I'm kind of embarrassed that I did it, because I had that little bit of I had that entitlement in grad school for a while. There was a time, it was my third year of grad school, and there was a role that came through, and it was perfect. I felt like it was perfect. And I heard that the director was going to go in another direction, and I waited for him after, and I quartered him in a parking lot. And we had a very tough conversation, and it was really embarrassing, because as I reflected back on it, I said some stuff that were so like, ugh, like, it's not me, right? Like, there was a version of me that I didn't like, that, like, I've worked really hard to change. And there was a version of me that was like, I've been here for 3 years. I've done this. I've put in my dues. I've earned this. And he's like, but you're not the best role, like, best for the role. And I was like, you're wrong. And so I had one of those entitlement moments, which was really embarrassing. And like now, I would, like, if I had an opportunity to go back 20 years and coach myself in this situation, I'd kind of pull myself aside and be like, bro, listen, hey, it might be a chest poke kind of moment. Be like, this is bullshit. Stop. Be better. be better, right? So if you, here's some danger phrases that if you catch these in your mindset, I want you to really kind of take note and flip them, right? So if you catch yourself saying, well, they must hate me because ... or they're not calling me back because, or shoot, I shouldn't have said ... or they must think I'm ... or well, they should have ... or why didn't they think to call me ... or I can't believe that ... Those are all entitlement and expectation kind of conversations. All frustration, all emotional turmoil, all disappointment stems from unmet expectations that we put on other people. Ben Kinney always has this amazing phrase that he says, people can never disappoint you. Only your expectations of them can. No one has the power to disappoint you. You disappoint yourself by what you expect from other people. Mel Robbins has a really cool phrase. How many of you have heard her talk about her? Do you know her, like her newest catchphrase? So she's the queen of catchphrases. Like she was the 5-second rule. So she wrote the book, The 5-Second Rule, which is fantastic. If you want to take action on anything, count down from 5 to 1, kind of like a blast off, and then do it. And you start tricking your brain into it. And then she had another book called The High Five Habit, about personally high-fiving yourself in the mirror. And now this next one, she has a conversation. It's called Let Them. Let them. Somebody doesn't want to call you back? Let them. They went to happy hour and didn't invite you? Let them. Somebody wants to do that, like just whatever it is from others. Let them. Let them. This is one of those markets, and this is one of those times where you can only control what you control. There are some challenges out there that we have to overcome, which is lack of inventory, interest rates, and now a shift in the way that we have conversations around agency. What we can control is the information that we put out, how often we put it out, the quality of the information, the quality of the conversations we're surrounding ourselves with. And more importantly, are you surrounding yourself with people that are in possibility or people that are living in scarcity? What conversations are you purposefully allowing in? Some thoughts.
So I think about these things, Matt, and I, one of the things that I get to, so like let them, is I can get there, but that it's not my go-to, right? It's not my first response. And it takes me a little time to get there and get there. So I think trying to get my brain to jump to that place first, as opposed to why not me, as opposed to let them. So that's just a struggle I have, because I have to intellectualize it because the emotion takes over the intellectual there.
Yeah, this is so for me, this is really strong, right? Like, I get highly emotional. And my MO is I get really reactionary and super defensive. Like if somebody comes at me or I feel hurt or wronged in a certain way, my instinct is to fight back at a level higher, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you punch me, I'm gonna stab you. If you stab me, I'll shoot you. Right? Like I'm gonna escalate. But that's just the way it is. Like I'm gonna come at it in such a way that like you're not gonna do this to me again because there's consequences. That's how I always operate.
Mhm.
I've worked really hard on squashing that. And I take a
So,
second, I pause to respond instead of reacting.
so I choose to shut up and just take it all in, but that doesn't mean my mental process isn't where you are.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And then I've got it. So for me, like when I go into the cave in the dark place, the kind of the scary place, when I start really kind of going into that mindset of non-productivity, the mindset of retribution, justice. Like in my mind, it's justice, fairness. Like I'm gonna get even. Like I gotta ask myself, why? No, you don't. Let them. Who says you have to get even? Here's the thing, like I don't fight with stupid people. I don't argue with idiots.
Mm.
There's no winner. Let them. Because I'm looking for my people. I'm going to put all my energy into my people. The people that want to work with me, the people that see our value, the people that respect it, the people that can that celebrate it, the people that share it, the people that communicate it, right? That's it. Right? I lean into those swimming towards the boat. Save those that are swimming towards it. Other thoughts from today's conversation? How many of you are like rolling through a scenario now in your mind going, shoot, this message is like 5 days late. I could have used this a month ago or last year or whatever.
I've been reminding myself for as long as I can remember in this business that you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. So like, don't try to be, focus on the people that you are like that. But I will tell you, like, sometimes I'll be rocking it, like it won't bother me about stuff. And then boom, it'll just hit me. And I'm like, okay, why did this one particularly bother me so much? But yeah, when you were saying about pouring in to the people that are your people and stuff, like that's what I try to do. And then I figure out, like, why am I wasting so much time on like the people that I'm just not right for, because maybe they're not right for me also. I wish there was a magic thing, because I will tell you, 90% I'm spending so much time on this.
Mm-hmm.
But I will tell you, what we were talking about, kind of like the whole Chinese proverb. I had like a situation, I know last year, that I had the buyer and the seller, and my buyer just all of a sudden backed out, just like 9 days before closing. And I had to call he just backed out. Like there really was no reason. And I ended up calling the clients, and my clients were like, oh my gosh, we're so glad this is like a God.
You just muted
Thankful. No, it's because somebody was calling me. Somebody was calling me. I had to cancel the call. Can you hear me?
I hear you now. So they said it's
okay.
a godsend.
Yeah, it was just so much. Yeah, my clients were just like, this is such a God thing. Like we're so glad that it fell through and everything. And my clients decided not to put the house back on the market. And they just, that was May of last year. And they just called me to come back over and like to relist their house. And they told me, they're like, they were so glad that I wasn't pushy to them about it. But it was really hard. Sorry, my son keeps yelling my name. But yeah, so anyway, you never know why stuff doesn't work out, but now we can list our house for 40,000 more than we could have a year ago because of just a few things that they did to it. So yeah, you never know why.
Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see.
Yeah.
Nice. Final thoughts. We got 1 minute. So the task I leave you, the homework that I leave you with, is as you're going through your week and you start feeling a certain kind of way about a certain thing, begin to ask yourself, what story am I playing here? And is it good luck? Is it bad luck? Doesn't matter. That's all story. What's happening to you is happening to you. Maybe good, maybe bad. I don't know. We'll see. What can you control? Next, next, next. See, the thing is that once we start feeling like we're safe and we're good and like we want to take our foot off the throttle a little bit, that's where we get caught up. That in whatever happens, all of a sudden is a bad thing versus a good thing. Because the thing being taken away from you is highlighting our inconsistencies in generating enough business to be insulated from the stories of what everybody else is going through, because everyone else is doing the best they can with what they got. And what they need to do has nothing to do with whether or not, you approve or not. All right. With that being said, you guys have an amazing week. Amazing week. Maybe so, maybe not. We'll see. Take care, guys.